Welcome to Think Property Club's Think Tank, where we connect, share, and learn the tips and hacks from our specialists. They become part of our A team, supporting us to create the best developments in the property game. Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's Think Property Club Specialist webinar. Today, I've got a really hot topic. As you guys can see on the screen there, I've got one of our favourite builders who we've known for a little while now, Tye Alroe. Welcome. From Elro Constructions. He's had a lot of experience. We've seen him grow over the years and predominantly in Queensland and New South Wales border. And he's got so much nuggets and tips and experience on his own journey as a builder turned developer. So I really want you guys to take notes today and really get a little bit of inspiration from what Tye can share with you, because he's out there really changing, I guess, that building and design in terms of beautiful developments that we see along Queensland. And he's also working with amazing developers who are making good profits. Hopefully you can share that insight with us, Tye, because it's changed over the years. And we really want, I guess, your opinion on how the market's doing and how the developers are doing, and where there could be some good potential for some of our students who are starting small. Some advice there as well. So a lot to cover. Sit back, grab your pens and paper, your water. If you've got any questions for our Think Property Club members, you can ask at the end, and we'll get started. So welcome, Tye.
Thanks for having me, Amy, and appreciate the kind words at the start. It's been a journey. It's I think we met would have been 7 or 8 years ago now, Amy.
Don't know. Maybe more. Maybe more
maybe 10 years ago. I'm not sure, but I remember you walking in on one of our job sites at Morningside when we were building in Brisbane, doing a lift of an old house and building under, and then putting 4 townhouses at the back of it. We were just the builder on that one for a developer in Brisbane. But that was the good old days when it used to be affordable to build, and you could build townhouses for 300 grand, which was awesome.
And you did it so quickly too.
No, we did. So it's good to be here. I think I'll just quickly tell everybody about my journey real quickly, and then very similar to what you guys are going through at the moment, trying to get into development. I started my own development when I was 23, which is about 15 years ago now. And all that was a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, old unit in a complex at Mermaid Beach. And I bought that as my PPR with about 10 grand deposit. Back in those days, you could buy a unit for 220 grand, 250 grand. And I did a little renovation on it. Spent about 50 grand on the renovation, which was like a new bathroom, new kitchen. Did all the paint on the walls, and that's what you do normally to make it look fresh. And lucky enough, lived in it for a year and sold it for 100 grand profit, which is, back when I was 23, that was massive money for me, 100 grand profit, which got me into my next development straight after that, which was a duplex, lightweight double-story duplex at Mermaid Waters. Again, made some good money on that one, which was about 400 grand. So, that was 2 years in. I made $500,000, thought I was killing it. And then funny enough, I got the third one and lost 500 grand. So come back to zero again pretty quickly. And the reason why I lost that money, to be honest with you, I got too cocky thinking that I knew it all at those early days, which I didn't. I had a building company that I just started as well, which was taking a lot of my own time up and trying to learn how to run a business at the same time while doing a development. And I just wasn't over the detail. And I bought a site, which was a 4 townhouse site when I was 26, which just never stacked up from the very start. But I did it on emotion, and emotion doesn't work in development. It's purely a process, and it's a and it's mass. And if you don't get the process and the mass right, then you can pretty much lose everything straight away, or you can make a lot of money. So just that'll be my first tip here today is when you're doing anything new, make sure you learn it back to front before you jump in and start spending money on things. And what Amy and Jason do here at Think Tank is impressive. If I met the guys before I started developing, I probably would have done their courses, but I kind of just did it off a whim. And I have a lot of people that I know in my network that were developers at the time, so I was using mentors and things like that. But still, there's a process, right? Just like building. You got to follow the process. So anyway, away from the loss, I got back on my feet and focused on building for 3 years and didn't do any more development. And I started working for developers at that point. This would have been probably 7 years ago now. Before that, I was just doing mum and dad houses, custom homes and things like that. And then I started building 4-packer townhouses in Brisbane and the Gold Coast. And 7 years ago, they were really, really hot on the like they were really, really easy to make pretty good margins. Like, your 20% gross margin on a 4-pack development was pretty much a standard at that point in time. And lucky enough, I was the only builder that I knew that were building sort of luxury sort of townhouses, as you see on the left-hand part of the screen there. That's one of our own developments we finished about 12 months ago now at Runaway Bay. But those kind of buildings is what we were building for 4 or 5 years. And we made some good money out of them ourselves, but our developers were making really good money. And we would have built 3 or 4 different projects with each developer in that period of time. So a lot of repeat customers for us. And then COVID hit and really, really shook up the game from a building perspective. That was the first part that really hurt, was the building prices. And for me as the builder at that time, I had a lot of issues that I couldn't really get out of. And I had to absorb a lot of the losses myself through the building company. To be fair, there would have been 80% of the developers that did put their hand in their pocket and help me out through that period of time. And there was 20% that didn't, but the 80% helped us get through. And when someone says COVID was tough for builders, I'll give you a really quick story how it went. When COVID hit, we all thought we were going to run out of work. And we're all talking about, letting people go and things like that. And then 3 months later, all of a sudden, it was just like everyone was ringing my phone to get more work going from a developer point of view. So then there was a period of time there for about 6 months where the prices hadn't moved. So I signed all these projects up, probably 10 of them at the time. And then when the job started, the prices started increasing. And I kid you not, they were increasing by 10% every quarter. I was receiving letters from all my suppliers and all my subbies saying price increase, price increase. And we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. It actually cost me $4 million through that two-year period that I had to wear probably $3 million of it.
Tye, did you have to honour the price that you gave those 10 projects?
I did. So out of those 80% of the developers that did put their hand in their pocket, they probably gave me $1 million altogether. But I had to wear $3 million on the head, which, again, it was another big setback for me on my journey. But we dug deep. All of a sudden, that was 2022. The main price increases at the time were like timber and claddings and plasterboard and things like that. So I transitioned out of timber construction into concrete and block construction. At the point in time, that was actually cheaper to build that way, and it's actually a way better to build from a quality perspective and a longevity perspective. So, that was kind of like a blessing in disguise, and we haven't really looked back now. And as you can see on the right-hand side of this picture, there's another project there. That's one of our projects, one of our developments in Main Beach.
It's gorgeous.
This is the kind of stuff we do now full-time. We don't do townhouses anymore. We do luxury unit complexes like this one. Our biggest one we've got on our books this year will be 24 stories in Broadbeach on the beachfront. which will be 22 units, one per floor, with a double-story penthouse on the rooftop with 3-level basement. So we have traditioned out of the smaller stuff. Me starting as a unit developer, renovation. Sorry, back when I was 23, through houses, through townhouses, and then into small development construction, class 2 development, which is units. Now working our way into commercial sheds, which is like industrial sheds and man caves, up to 24-story luxury apartments. And we've got another project up the sunny coast that's a 5-level office building with a childcare centre attached off the side of it with one basement. So we're more of a commercial building developing company now. We still do take some clients on, but I'd say we're 60% developer builder now, with our business plan to be a full-time builder developer by 2027. But at the same time, don't get me wrong, we do work with some really cool developers and really have the same values as us. And the values really are is making sure that the end product is right for the end user. And if it's not good enough for your own home, it's not good enough for our buyer's home. So, so that's kind of our short part of a long story. But yeah, and within the Elro Group now as well, we're not just a construction company. We're a vertically integrated business that does marketing and branding, which is called Madison House. So if you see the circle around the arrow there on the bottom right, you got Madison House that does 3D renders, lifelike renders, websites, branding for the project, all that stuff. Madison Road is a off-the-plan sales company. My business partners in that have been in the game for 25 years selling off the plan. RE Central is something exciting that we're bringing to the market this year, and we've launched it early this year already, which is an online platform similar to realestate.com. But what it is, it's an open listing platform for all agents, buyers agents, financial planners and accountants, where they get access to off-market stock from developers that haven't gone to market yet, which then can sell through their own network. So we've got a member base of 2,000 members from the selling side on there at the moment, and that's growing at 100 people per month. And then on the other side, we've got the developer who lists the development onto the portal. So there's no actual buyers on there. There's actually the buyer agents, which is no one's ever done that before that I know of, and I think that's going to be very successful. And then obviously you've got Elro Constructions as the builder. And then that kind of brings the Elro Group together from the development perspective. So I don't know if you want to ask any questions at this point, Amy, or do you want me just to keep going?
Super exciting about the sales platform, because a lot of the hardest part of the development is really getting your stock sold. And a lot of us want to get that stock sold during finance. So you get your pre-sales done. And I think your platform is almost like getting all the buyers agents from around Australia on there, right?
Yeah, and so where the idea come from, which was about 12 months ago when we were struggling to sell some of our stock, and the traditional way is to sign a Form 6 with an agent or a project marketing agent. They get the listing for, normally 6 months, let's say, to 12 months to sell the product. And then you hear every excuse under the sun why they can't sell it. And it could be their processes, it could be their network, it could be all that. What RE Central brings to the table is you're bringing all the agents together. And at the moment, when real estate's so expensive, certain buyers only go to certain real estate agents to buy stuff, right? So right now, let's use the Main Beach project that's on the screen right now. They're all selling for about a $5.5 million price tag across the whole building on an average. Mm-hmm. This is on RE now, so I've got 25 agents in Main Beach on RE, and I've sold one unit in 2 weeks through the RE Central platform. That cost me as the developer to list one unit on there for $15,000. But now I've got a big pool of agents working for me, not just the one agent. And like I said, it comes down to the buyer trust circle, the trust loop that only wants to buy and sell with one agent for 20 years. And so now you're not you're opening up the whole market, not just that agent you're working with full time. He's waiting for the phone to call from realestate.com or from the sign on the front of the project. So
So
yeah, that's where the idea came from.
the developers dealing directly, so they do their own listing and they're dealing
Correct.
with all the finance accountants, blah, 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 who
Yeah.
have registered as members
Yeah.
to be able to get these off the plan. And would the developer be selling these products for a little bit less than market price?
Normally we put it on for market price. It just depends on the project. If you need, 5 pre-sales on a 10-unit project, yeah, you would give a wholesale rate at that just to get your finance in place. Like let's just break it down real quickly. How it works is developer lists onto the portal.
Yes.
Our concierge at our essential facilitates the EOIs that come in from the buyer's agent. So they submit the EOI through the portal.
Yep.
Concierge reads it and makes sure it's legit, then sends it to the developer. If the developer wants to go further with it, that's when we introduce the buyer agent and the developer together, and then they do a Form 6 together to then complete the deal. That's kind of how it works. And probably another time, if anyone wants more information about this, I can send like a
You'll have to do
video.
a separate information session, because I think it sounds like a really cool idea, because I remember when we had stock to sell, we couldn't have 5 agents listing it, because then they'd be all competing and the buyers would then negotiate off 5 different agents, because you can never have 5 agents listing on realestate.com, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
there's a means to kind of hide that and have different agents working for your stock.
So where it come from, so the building on the left, the one at Runaway Bay there, we built that, and our strategy for sale was let's build it and then sell it. So not try to sell it before or through the build. And the reason for that, this is the point in time when no one wanted to put 10% deposit down off plan because it was getting harder and harder. So we thought, you know what, they're a nice townhouse villa. Let's just do that. So we finished it, and then all of a sudden, the Runaway Bay Paradise Point market on the northern Gold Coast was really, really hot through COVID, and then all of a sudden the whole market just fell out. Like there wasn't a buyer around, and we've got multiple, people we know, Amy, that are in that predicament still. And then someone come along with a network of buyers and said, hey, I can sell this product in 7 days, but I've got to pay 5.5% commission. I was paying 2.2%. Well, for the normal real estate agent that was looking after it at the time, Madison Road, I was paying 2.5. This network marketer come through and said, I can sell these in 7 days, but my commission's 5.5. So I worked out the math. It was going to cost me an extra 150 grand in commission, but I was getting no hits on realestate.com. I was getting none of that. So I was like, I had an interest bill getting calculated each day at about, 10 grand a week or whatever. So I worked it out saying, you know what, I'll take the 150 grand hit on the commission now to get rid of them, which then makes us look like a success story from a developer builder perspective because we've sold all our stock and we can get the opportunity cost into the next project. So we did that, and then that's where the idea come from. So we've got those buyer networks on ARI as well, not just real estate agents, right? So
yes, there's so much potential for you to keep adding to that database.
We want that we want that database to be 10,000 people by 2026. And we want that to be from Singapore, US, Europe, just all over the world. But
surprised there's nothing like that already out there.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool idea. And well, hopefully we can shake up the real estate market a little bit.
Oh, super amazing, because you're actually going to be helping developers move forward faster, right?
And myself.
And yourself needs to sell quickly, right? And every day the interest hits up when you haven't sold a property, and as a developer, you're the last one to get paid, right?
For sure.
I always believe in, selling as much, off the plan whilst it's building, and then you have less to sell. And that's just from experience, right? Different areas, different buyer demand. So, all right, well, keep us up to date, and you're launching later in the year.
Yeah, just reach out if you want to know more information about that. I've got plenty of info to send out, so that's cool.
Amazing.
Yeah, so we sort of touched on this just before, what Elro does these days, but yeah, we're still using like client developers as well. So what we do with them, and also for our own project, is when someone comes to our door, asks if we can help them build something or whatever, we always want to work with them at the very start to make sure the project is feasible. Because what we won't do is go into an early contractor agreement, which is called an ECI, and do all this work with the developer to find out at the end of it that it actually doesn't stack up and they can't actually build it because they can't get finance for it. So we try to do that project analysis and feasibility studies alongside our developer. That's our first step. I've got a couple of development managers that work in Elro as well, so they help at that point as well. And that process takes maybe an hour or two, and that's kind of it from a high level. And then we also help with the development management. So what that means, guys, is we help do design, we help do all the consultant work, we help do the DA management. We're kind of like a project management firm that helps the developer get to site, if that makes sense. So even can help out with finance. We've just got all our networks now that we work with. And again, the reason I do that is ensure that one, Elro can make a fair margin, but two, the developer makes what they need to make. So a successful project in my eyes, when I'm just the builder and I'm working for a developer, the developer needs to make their margin that they're setting out for, and the builder needs to make their margin what they're setting out for. So if both make the same margins what they agreed on at the start, then that's a sensational project. And there's too many developers out there, not in Amy's group, but in other areas that really go hard on the builder and try to get the builder to do it for nothing. And then what that happens is, and you're seeing it right now in the market, builders start falling over financially and go bankrupt. So there's half-finished projects everywhere. The next builder that comes in then charges double to finish it. And then your whole margin, and the bank takes over the project because you can't finish it. It's just all these things, right? So you got to ensure that your builder and your developer are making money. So that's a part of the development management process. And then like I said, we also offer project branding and 3D visualization. So again, the one below that is called the Fin. Again, if you Google www.thefin.com.au, you'll see the website for this. You'll see what we've done, the naming of the project, the logos, the colors, the renders, like everything's there. That's what Madison House does, which again is in the Elro office. If we go down, please.
Gorgeous development. All that curve and all that obviously is still very in terms of the coastal.
Yeah, so this one's finishing this project. These two photos here is the same project on the last page. This one's in Mermaid Beach. So just going back to the rendering and branding for a second. So if you can see the bottom left-hand corner, you see you're looking out through the deck, right? Some of our visuals, what we've got, it's like a little video of the curtain moving in the wind. You'll actually have the waves and the ocean rolling in. So how we've done that is done a video on site, and then we've merged the render into the video. So when you're selling off plan, you really get that emotional hook. So when someone's spending $3.5 to $5 million on a unit, or it can be $500,000 on a unit, it doesn't have to be high end, but they got to really feel how if it was them walking through the building before, like after it's built, and that's what Madison House tries to achieve. So yeah, this is the Fin, like I said, it's finishing in 60 days. In the last, so that's like out of the 8 units, we've sold 6. We've got the last 2 on the market now as our final release. This one's been quite successful for us. Madison Road did the sales. We achieved record sales in the street, which is on Albatross Avenue, Mermaid Beach, which is a pretty renowned street. It's got great views across all the building. And yeah, it's been a great project. This is our first Class 2 luxury apartment building we've done under the Elro banner. And we've got a few more now coming up. But yeah, this is our first one from 2 years ago when we started it.
Yeah.
Construction is obviously a big part of the business. That was the core from back in the day when I first started as a builder. I'm a chippy by trade, carpenter by trade, and have worked in all different aspects of construction. My team now are all sort of tier 1, tier 2 people, meaning they've been in Hutchinson Builders and the bigger companies, and now they're working for more of a custom boutique developer builder. We got 50 staff. We do 8 projects a year. Our turnover is about 80 to 100 million in the construction arm. And then you've got the marketing and sales, like I said, with Madison Road, which is, agents that sell off plan. They don't do finished products. They don't do open homes and things like that. They know how to talk buyers through floor plates, through specifications. There's a special niche there, and Amy can back this up. Not every agent knows how to sell off the plan. A lot of agents only can do open homes and let people walk through their house and facilitate that. When you're working with people off plan, you really got to, it's a lot more touch points, there's a lot more meetings, there's a lot more all that. And Madison Road, sorry, the guys that work for me in that, they're involved with the project at the very start. So they're working through floor plans with the architect, they're working through specifications, they're understanding what the buyers want and what they don't want, going by other projects. And that's why it's so special having the vertical integrated approach, because we're making sure that we're making sure we're not doing the wrong thing. Yes, it is things that we might make mistakes on, but when you're vertically integrated, you can offset the mistake through other areas, So, but yeah, so that's kind of the high level view of Elro, the Elro Group. We spoke about Ari before, so I won't go on that again. We'll go down one. Oh yeah, so a case study. So this case study, and this is a developer coming to us as the builder only, because we still do that, like I said. So when they first come to us, it was a 20-unit development in Cabarita. The challenges they had on it, we weren't involved with the design at the start, and they sort of had all the design completed, and they locked in a builder. The builder went under or went into liquidation just before Christmas in 2023, which really put some stress on the boys, the developers. And I got introduced through a real estate agent, and then we met and we quoted the job, and it was $3 million over their budget. So on a $30 million project, it's 10%, which, if they had, so let's say they had 10 million in the project as a profit, they now have 7. That sounds like a big number, but to the funders or the financiers' eyes, their fees, they look like about 12% on their bottom line, which is not great. You won't get many funders to fund that at 12%. They want to be about between 15 to 20% at the moment with the current market. Normally it used to be 20 to 25%. Just with everything that's happened, they've probably come down to 16 to sort of 20. So we had to find $3 million. So we had to go back and do a redesign on the building, not massively, but just through all the structurals and the hydraulics and the finishes and a few things. Over the space of 3 months, we found the $3 million. Again, they paid us 80 grand to Elro to do that because that's our time and it covers our time. But for an 80 grand, investment, they've found 3 million, which then put their project back on the board to start. So that was the biggest challenge they had. And then when we started, and Amy only just lives down the road, she drives past the job site probably a lot. We hit water under the ground, which never showed in the soil test. So there was a couple of $100,000 in dewatering that the developer had to pay for. But again, we're not the kind of builder that just kind of writes that off as a variation and moves on. We go, all right, you've lost 200 and you've got to have to pay the variation, which sucks. How do we find that 200 grand at the back end of the job? And again, we've worked through other design elements to find that money. So yes, they paid 200, but they saved it in another way. So what I'm trying to say there is we just don't wipe our hands when there's a variation. We try to work in and find that money in other places if we can. And then they appointed Madison Road as the sales agent. After the first agent had to go, we sold 5 units within the first 14 days of the launch, which is amazing, which put about 25 million on their bottom off their sales matrix. And yeah, so it's been a very challenging job for both sides, but we've been finding ways to get it back to equilibrium to make sure it makes money for both sides. So,
How hard is it, Tye, to like find extra 200 grand when you've already started the project and you've got every documentation, everything's, do you reduce, what can you reduce there towards the
so,
end?
so one thing we've been doing on these bigger projects, which I probably wouldn't recommend on a smaller scale project, but overseas products have now come very popular and they're very good quality these days as well. So we had a backup plan that we got our cabinetry and our glazing, which is our windows and doors, priced as overseas as well. And we didn't use those quotes at the start because we already hit our budget. So that was our backup plan. So we had a 200 or 300 grand saving if we pushed on with that. And this happened. So then we've actioned that. And again, you've got to order early for those things to get them into the country. So again, just thinking outside the box, making sure you're working through these items because development and building is hard, guys. Like you're not going to have, and Amy can back me up here. Like you think the FISO looks strong and you start the job and then all of a sudden you get hit with these variations and you start getting stressed and all that. You just need to make sure that you're working with the right team and think Tank always say that, have the right team around you. If it's not Elro, it's someone else, but just got to find that right person to build a relationship with. A lot of my developers, we've been working with them for a long time. And the reason why we probably don't work with some of them now is because we've grown out of that niche of that work. But, there's multiple clients from, think tank students that I've done builds for over the years that we did 3 or 4 of us and we've just grown outside of them now. But, they'll come up to the unit space at some point in their careers as well. And we'll be working together again. But, so that's kind of that part as that case study, Amy. So
It's all, I like that your solutions focus because like you said, it's not all rosy. It's good to start a project strong with that higher profit margin. But the biggest part of any successful development, small or big, is your team. Your design team, your builders, your financiers, and you need to research. You need to do your due diligence on all these people and get references and collaborate. And you can't just, Google and pick someone. It takes time to build that relationship. And you usually know at the beginning when you're sending the design across a DA how well you work together already, right?
and I think having finance people involved early as well.
Yes.
I use a broker called Stat Capital in Brisbane. Alex is a big part of my business now. He's been with Elro for over 2 years, and he gets involved at feasibility stage to say, "Hey, Tye, this is going to work. This is not going to work." He'll find other projects that have been completed as well for me that I can't find, and see their feasos and ensure their numbers are similar. And then he'll tell me how much equity that I'll need to do the project. And if that means I've got to go out to my investment network or I use my own money or whatever, I know where I'm at with that. And I think it's important having, and then those financiers also have builders that they know of that can be, referred to and that's how a lot of our work comes in now is through the banks because they know they can trust us and we know we're financially stable and because they see all our financial statements, right? The banks, so they know where we're at. So the cheapest is not always the best. That's all I can say.
No, it usually catches up on you down the track as you're building with variations or whatnot. And it's going to be different with the development size, but all this, I guess, is about the experience that you've gone through. And I love that you can share with everybody the real honest truth about it because
sure.
there's no hiding. It's all in the numbers game.
It's all numbers, and I've made plenty of mistakes, and I'll probably make plenty more. But you just got to make sure you learn from your lessons and don't do them twice, because doing them twice in this industry can really, really hurt you and probably put you to bed. So yeah, just make sure that you tick your tick your I's, cross your T's. And
Always
we have the
learning.
right team. Yeah, always learning for sure.
Every project's going to be really different. Awesome. I've got a few questions, Tye,
Yeah,
on our chat part of it.
yeah, cool.
And I think there's a bit of interest on the ARI. So I don't know if it's Ari, whether it's you or maybe someone else from your team, maybe I would do a short snippet for us later in the year, like a 20 presentation or something.
Yeah, for sure. I can even give you through the RE email address if you want to email the RE Central guys, and which I'm a part of, but and then they can send you through.
I'll get my team to contact your team. Sound good?
Yeah, cool. Sounds good. Yeah.
Beautiful. All right. So if you've got any questions, just put it in the chat. Tye, do you want to go in the chat? Do you want me to?
Yeah, I can go in the chat if you want.
So Tammy, first one up.
So Tammy, when the price increase happen, do you get the clients an opportunity to refund with their deposit? Yeah, so we don't take any, so we don't go into any bill contract. I think this is what you mean. Unless we've done a full tender of the price of the job. Now, just to give you really touching on the price increases and where that's at the moment, that has really cooled down. So if any other builder says to you, "Oh, no, it hasn't. It's still really, it's going up. It's going up." It's really not. I believe it's settled back down to say, 2% a year, which is back into the normal range. It's not like it was when I told you my story.
Yeah, so, well, during that COVID period, my husband and I have been investors for a while. So we took on a couple of projects, and of course with the increases and things, one of them was a large scale, similar to what you're doing at the moment with the childcare centre, the businesses, the units above, blah, blah, blah. We still have the unit, but they offered us at the time to put an increase in of funds or the opportunity to bail out completely. So we put the funds in, but then the other project we were doing at the same time, which was a 4-bedroom terrace house, they sort of just sat idle for a while. And the builder was really slow, and the build took forever. And of course that affected us financially because we were paying for a mortgage, because obviously with all the drawdowns and things like that. So, you know, trying to sort of save those situations when we go into development, what's like the safety net, I suppose, if an investor decides this is all going south, I want to bail out, but you've already been to the bank and said, hey, look, I've got these pre-sales. What do you do in those situations?
Yeah, so it's a tough one, right? I think COVID was like a really random time that I don't think we're going to see again too soon, but if we do, we're all probably fucked. just between all of us. It's a tough one. So if it's your own house, like you're building that terrace home for the builder, I can put hand on my heart, our build time's nearly doubled as well, because it was from the subby was the issue. It wasn't the builder, it was the subbies, right? So that's the reason why the prices increases went up, because there was so much work on for the amount of subbies the labour we had. So the materials are one thing, but the labour market was the real issue. So like block layers were getting paid, say, $400 a day in a normal market. All of a sudden they're getting paid $900 a day because the employee's going, I'm not coming to work because the other blocky over the road's paying me $900 now, because everyone was desperate to get stuff done right. So that's a tough one. Going back to the builder, I think you just got to have to ride it out with him if that ever happened again. Like that was just an unseen thing, like no different to something under the ground that no one could understand. Like hitting water or rock or whatever. Like this is a late
He
condition.
refused to buy bricks because they were too expensive, so he just wanted to sit it out.
Yeah, well, if that was me and that was me as the builder, I would have said to you guys, listen, we can either sit it out or we can all work together, and you can pay a little bit more, but really by the end of it, you're probably not going to be out of more pocket than you would have been if you're going to sit around for 2 years and wait for it, because that's a big call when you don't know what the future looks like, right?
We ended up taking him for liquidated damages, but yeah.
Yeah. So it's just, again, it's about the relationship between both parties, right? It's not just it's just how you just got to work it. And I'm quite transparent myself. Yes, there was a couple of people that weren't happy, and it is what it is. But 80% of the people were happy, and we got through it. And if they didn't do that, then I probably wouldn't have made it either, and I probably would have been one of those builders in the news saying gone under, because you can't control it. Like, it was just out of control at one point.
Oh, we ended up making a huge profit off it in the finish.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Exactly.
that was the only upside.
Talk about COVID and the upside, guys. We had that halt during COVID, but after COVID, everything pretty much doubled in so many areas.
Yeah.
Right. We had such that blessing. Whoever sold stock after COVID did really well.
Yeah. And I'm up on the Sunshine Coast, so it did really well. So we bought off the plan for $515 and sold for $765.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I feel like what you're talking about here, how some people like to sit on it, some people don't want to.
Yeah.
My experience, we just want to finish and do our best at the time and move on. No one wants to stress of things sitting there and your interests and banks, charging you more and more. Even if you have to cut your losses, make less, move on. It's just less stress for everybody in the game.
I think what you'll find as well, team, the construction contract will change now, right? So there'll be a clause in the contract saying, I forget what it's called now exactly, but if COVID happens again, say, that the builder has the chance to increase their price to offset it if they can prove the increase. So it's a tough one. But I can say hand on heart right now that the increases have slowed right down and it's back to normal at the moment.
Awesome. Thank you for
that. Next one. Hi there, buyer's agent. Can you please share the link? Yeah, we'll do that through Amy's team and myself later. What's the RE Essential website link? What's that one? Sorry.
Yeah, that's on the RE as well.
RE, ARI. Yeah, I can flick that over to Amy. Yeah, that's cool. RE, no one is small developers. I don't work with small developers, sorry. I used to. If you met me 5 years ago, you would have been calling me, so that's now changed. I do have other guys that I can recommend though. So if you need a list of builders, I'm happy to send over some details.
Send that to us, Tye, because I think we'll have a few students who will probably want that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any delays and extra time always ends up costing more than you originally expected. That's developing, right? You just got to have your contingencies in place in your FISO. So I run a 7.5% contingency on my FISO for the construction piece, and I'm the builder. So I was unlucky through COVID in the last 2 years because you guys will get a fixed price contract and lock it in, and the builder will lose the money, like Tammy just said. I was the builder and I was the developer, so I actually had the losses and I couldn't control that again because I didn't have a fixed price contract. So that was probably the only time being a builder developer was kind of shitty. Normally you would make two margins. Normally that's how you would normally do it, but so obviously time's a big thing. I don't think we've actually spoken about time here yet today. So program of the construction timeline and also the design timeline. So ensuring that the builder that you work with, and let's just talk small builders now, so small developments, make sure they've got systems in place, either online, probably online these days because everyone's using a construction management program, and ask for their construction program before you sign a contract. And then I would actually get that just sort of reviewed by an expert in that area to see if it's legit. because time is your biggest killer in development. If that development gets delayed by 3 to 6 months or 12 months even, you're paying peak debt on the back end of the project, and that's going to just chew away your profit margin. So if there's a builder that's smaller and he's cheaper by 20 grand or 50 grand, but he takes twice as long, that 50 grand is now 150 grand issue because of the time. So just remember that when you're reviewing your quotes, and it's not just price, it's program, it's budget, and it's also the quality aspect of the building as well. They're the three things that I'd be definitely making sure you tick off. What is the size of the projects you are currently working on and taking clients on board? So our range, I'll just talk dollar value. So construction-wise, with 15 million is our lowest, and 60 million is our highest at the moment. So that's our range. So it probably takes a lot of people out, I think. But I'm here today not to get more work. I'm here to give my knowledge to you guys, and hopefully I can make sure that some of you guys have big wins out of this conversation, or you can take something out of it. But if there is someone in the group that is in that range, please reach out. Happy to have a chat. But that's kind of our standard range at the moment. Question, do you recommend small scale developers to engage the builder in an ECI while design? I do. That's, again, picking the right builder though. So ensuring you've done your research on the builder. I'd always recommend forget the tender. I know Amy and Jason probably do say go to tender with 3 builders. So I'm sorry, Amy, if this is undermining your thing, but if you find the right builder and you do like a cost plan up front, so what a cost plan is like an estimate, not a quote, and say, hey, it's going to cost $1 million, then you can work with that builder through the design to ensure that it ends up being $1 million. Now, if it ends up being 1.2 or 1.3 million, that's when you can say no thanks and then take it all out to tender at that point. But I'd always say try to find a builder you can trust and know that he's good to work through that ECI, because he'll find design savings to make your build cheaper. That's just what will happen. So, and he also knows the job way more in detail because he's been working on that job for 3 or 4 or 5 months prior to starting. So when the job starts, then it shouldn't be any, oh, I didn't know about this, I didn't know about that. You know, this is a variation. The variation should go away if the ECI is done correctly. That's the whole point of the ECI.
I think the biggest thing for them is like if they don't have a builder contact, how do they get started? For us, it was like looking at PTR, other proven track record of other people who had done builds who are similar size builds. So if I'm doing a 4-pack townhouse, I'm looking at other builders who are doing 4-pack in the area because they would understand intimately the suburb, the land type, building materials, and the trades, etc. Right? So a lot of them might not have the contacts. So, you know, do they start with someone down the road who's doing a similar project and contact them and build that relationship?
See, I would work, so how I would do it, like even if it was me today and I had to go and do a little small duplex, I wouldn't know where to go either, to be honest with you. I don't know that many small builders that would do that. But what I would do, I'd go to the top 3 building designers or architects or something like that, speak to them. Who would you recommend? You don't need to engage them, just have a chat with them, or like an initial chat. Who's the builders that you would refer? Then get a builder list out of that, check their website, see what their website's all about, give them a call, hit them with about 10 questions. Don't talk price or anything like that. Just what's your process? How many builds a year do you do? What's your team look like? What's your system look like? Just, it's like an interview for a new role for a new employee. Once you get them down to 2 or 3, then you probably do a face-to-face, go to their office, see their operation looks like, and then from there you just make a gut feeling because you've done your due diligence through the builders, right? So that's what I would do if it was me. I'm actually doing that right now with a duplex for myself at Coogin. So I'm not actually building it because I'm too expensive to build my own duplex.
Why? How can it be too expensive?
It's just what we do now. We're building different stuff, and there's different experience levels in my business that, you know, charge more than what a normal residential supervisor looks like. Do you do any contracts in Sydney? I don't, sorry. Can a small developer just starting out still enter the GC market, or is it flooded with developers? Any advice on where to look? I'm a big fan about small developments on the Gold Coast. I tell you what I'm a big fan about is doing just one house, knock a house over on a canal and build a nice home. I reckon that's way de-risk than trying to do a 4-pack of townhouses or even a duplex. The land value is too expensive to do any of that stuff at the moment, and also construction prices are. So if you can find a block that's on a canal, close to the amenities, in a good location, and you might have to pay a couple of million for the land or whatever, you put a $2 million house on it, they're selling for $6, $7, $8 million houses now. Like that's the price range for houses, and there's still a lot of wealthy people moving to the Gold Coast, right? And there isn't that many nice homes. Like there's a lot of old homes. So if I was going to start again today, I would do one house at a time, be on the tools myself, be the supervisor 3 months, or just sell it, whatever, as a
Tye, we lost you there. Are you there?
project, and go to the next one. That's what I would do. That's not Sunny Coast. I don't on the Sunny Coast. We do have an office team on the Sunny Coast, but again, we're building units and commercial buildings. So I don't know any builders though.
Guys, if you've got any contact information, put it on our Think Property Club Facebook, private Facebook group page, because we've got a lot of students doing projects in different areas, and they might be able to suggest someone you can call as a good reference. But once again, you've got to do all your research, ask all those questions like Tye mentioned to get started.
Right, that's right. Is the ECI process like reverse engineering with budget first, and then the builder hits budget? So that's exactly what it is, right? So set of architectural plans, concept drawings, DA drawings, whatever. Get that priced as a cost plan. Then see where that sits with your budget, and then you'd re-engineer when you're doing the design of all the consultants to make sure that he lands on his budget the way through. At any time you think it's not working out, you just, in your agreement, you'd say it's not working out, I'm moving on. I've never had that personally, but I'm guessing there would be builders out there that would do that. But again, it just comes down to picking the right builder that's got a track record of doing this kind of stuff. And this is the last one. Great session. PS, Tye, any contacts in Melbourne funding small builder? Nah, I don't, sorry.
Put it on the Facebook group page, guys, and our group can share as well. Oh my gosh, we covered so much, Tye, in that short hour. That was like a super whiz. I loved it. Thank you so much, Tye. That was amazing. Always love hearing your journey. And, Tye, we met you when you were like 23, maybe, was it?
Yeah, I was young, for sure.
So, guys, it's how far you take it on your journey. And, Tye started as a small builder, and now he's doing, big developments, and it's the journey you learn along the way, but it's having that team with you. Keep sharing what you do, Tye, because it's so inspirational to everybody. And I feel like, you're one of many rare, I guess, builders who are actually honest and working with their clients. I know a lot of developers, builders actually either go bankrupt or they make it hard. They don't know what to do. And I guess a lot of it is credit to you, because you want to continually grow with, what you do.
One thing I would say as well, Amy, like we've been doing this for 15 years now, and we're not like it's taken 15 years to actually learn it properly. So don't think you can learn it in 15 months, because there's going to be something you always miss. But again, just getting the right people. What I didn't do in my start is getting the right people around me at the start. I kind of thought I could do it all myself. And then I had that massive hit of 500 grand on that third project. And then really, put my personal life at risk of losing everything at that point in time at 25 years old, which for me as a 25-year-old, I probably didn't really understand it as much. But now I've got a small family and all that. I'm very cautious of what I'm going into as a project because financiers are pretty ruthless, and if you don't deliver it, then they'll come after you and all your finances, So just make sure you take your time. It doesn't happen overnight. We've still got plenty to learn ourselves, and that's my last bit of advice I can give you.
Yeah, and have you got any goals, something you're doing for yourself? So part of what we teach people at Think Property Club is that they do something, they get a DA, they finish a bill, they sold one, they celebrate the win, because that journey can be quite long and rocky at times. So you want to celebrate the journey as you go along, and your team as well. What do you do for yourself to celebrate
how are we going to celebrate the one on the screen right now? So that's our first one. We're just finishing in the next couple of months. So we're actually going to have like an event at the building. So catered event. Anyone can come. So if anyone is on this scene from the Gold Coast or in Brisbane, you got to sign up. But we only can take 50 or so people. But we just want to have the event, enjoy a drink, have some food, go walk through the project, and really just observe what we've just created, because that's something that Elro's motto is about crafting. Like we're trying to craft beautiful buildings, and what it ends up being is it's a beautiful place for the end user to then live in. And we're very proud of this one. Like it's very unique. It's got Venetian render in all the bathrooms. It's got stone everywhere. It's got aluminium, as you can see. It's very, very nice. And for us to then sort of show it off to a degree to people that are either developers that want to do something similar, or just people in general. We're going to just celebrate the wins at that, and then I'll probably go on a holiday for a month to Bali. And then that'll be another way.
What do you do for yourself?
Yeah, we're very fortunate to have a villa in Bali now ourselves. So we built a villa in Uluwatu last year, and it's now getting rented out through Airbnb. But we blocked that out 3 times a year, so we can go over there for 2 or 3 weeks at a time and enjoy that with my little daughter and my partner. But yeah, just for me, my goal personally now is keeping a really balanced lifestyle between business and work. It wasn't very balanced through the first 10 years, as nothing is balanced when you're trying to build something. But now I've got a family, my whole vibe and direction of what I want to do personally has changed. But lucky enough, I've got a good business that can still generate a pretty good income for us, and we can live a good life. So it's just enjoying the fruits of it, but at the same time, want to be a full-time developer builder by 2027, I think I said, and really just be proud of what we build. Right, it's not about the money for me; it's about the outcome and the end user. So yeah, everyone that's walked through the project so far, that's bought's in love with it. So that's that's a success for me. It's not the profit; it's the outcome. So
you're building dream homes for people, Tye, at the end of the day. When people move in with suitcases and you see their smiles, that's what does it for us. And the beauty of it is you've made good money over the years, right? So there's got to be a bigger purpose to why you're doing this. Yeah.
And this is why I'm on this phone call for an hour in a busy day. I love sharing information, and I think at some point in, say, the next 5 to 10 years, I'll probably do more mentoring than actually run a business. I've got some really good people below me, which will probably take over the day-to-day operations at some point in the near future. And if I can help younger developers and builders and people like that, that's what's wholesome about the whole industry, because if we're here to help each other, we can't lose.
Yeah, and it's that win-win scenario. So yeah, speaking about Bali, obviously we take any students from our group to Bali to retreat end of June, early July for 1 week.
Nice.
So I'm see you there, Tye. We got a 1-week retreat, Think Property Club retreat in Ubud. We had
Awesome.
25 people there, all property developers from age 20 to 65. And this is where it's about creating that balance, because you feel quite lonely sometimes on your journey as a developer. And
Sure.
we've got to find out what that bigger purpose is for why you're doing this. It's not about the money. It's always about, time or freedom, whatever it is. So we'll share a little bit with you guys on a webinar next week. But thank you so much, Tye, for coming on. Really love hearing your journey and wish you, all the success all the time with what you do, with helping everybody, and not just yourself, but your team. And all your clients around you, and everybody stay in touch with Tye. He's got his Instagram, social media.
LinkedIn's good. I'm mainly on LinkedIn these days personally. I have my social media managed by a team member, but my personal LinkedIn is just Tye Alroe. So if you want to reach out, any questions, happy to hit you back. It might be a few days in between hitbacks, but that's all right. I'll definitely reply at some point. But yeah, it was really nice to sort of virtually meet everybody, sort of. And I hope everyone has a win over the next couple of years.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Tye.
Thank you.
Everybody for coming on. Enjoy the rest of your week, guys. Good.